Hi, this is Colin with Blue Marble Consulting, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate and talk about SAP's preventive maintenance. What I'll do is walk through the creation of a maintenance plan, and then we'll schedule that maintenance plan and finally see the resulting work order. To start, we'll jump into IP41 to create the maintenance plan. We're using internal numbering here, so we'll leave this maintenance plan field blank. We can also choose a category, which helps to differentiate different types of plans that you have, as well as find them once they've been created and you have thousands in the system. So we'll choose maintenance order. And there's a few other ways that we can help to navigate through the variety of maintenance plans, which I'll talk about. So up at the top here, we'll name the maintenance plan. And then we'll choose a cycle and unit. This is telling the system how often that this inspection or planned maintenance or repairs will take place. So in this case, we can put in something like 6 months. And that can be set for other units as well. So we can do days, weeks, years, things like that. And then we'll also name this cycle as well. Further down here, we have what's called a counter. And this is used for more performance or condition-based maintenance. So things like temperature or pressure or miles on an engine, maybe, we would use this counter for to capture that. And what the counter can do, if you say that you have an overflow of a particular piece of equipment, so if you need an inspection for your engines at 3,000 hours, and this counter hits 3,001 hours, if that's before this 6 months that you have in here, the work order will then be kicked off. So this counter will kind of overwrite the cycles that you have up here. Down below we have a maintenance, what's called a maintenance item, and this is kind of a sub-item to the maintenance plan. So we have the repairs maintenance plan, and we can have a variety of different maintenance items that are tied to this maintenance plan. You can only have one plan per item, but you can have multiple items per plan. And so these can be used for equipment or functional locations on really similar schedules. So if you want, you can, if you have 5 pieces of equipment that are all being worked on at the same time, you would have those as 5 separate items. So what we can do is enter in a maintenance item. We can choose a functional location for this. Okay, and then we can hit enter. You can also, in configuration, set up functional, all of the planning data for your pieces of equipment and functional locations. All right, and so now we have our maintenance item right here, and we can create, if you want to, you can create hundreds of different maintenance items for a maintenance plan. In this case, we will just do 2 maintenance plans, or maintenance items, sorry. And we'll do the same thing that we had before. We'll pull up a new functional location. And make sure that we have all this information in here. Now, all this planning data is what will be used to help create the work order that will be resulting from the scheduling of this maintenance plan. So right now you can see we have the starboard check maintenance item and port check. Now both of these will be set for the same exact dates as each other. Now, to move on, we'll go to the scheduling parameters, and this is how you will basically set up the entire schedule for these work orders to be kicked off. So what we can do, in the top left, we have shift factor and late and early shift factors. And what we can do, what we can use these for, is shifting the dates of a work order if they were completed early or late. So if we set the late factor to 100%, We're saying that if the work is completed a week late, then we want the next resulting work order to be scheduled a week later than it had originally been. So we can set these to any threshold that we would like. We also over here have the call horizon, and this is basically telling us what % of the cycle do you want the work orders to be kicked off for. So remember that our cycle here is 6 months. So if we set this call horizon to 50%, that's saying that in 3 months we want a work order to be kicked off. For this example, we'll leave that blank, so that way we always have a work order in the system. And then we have the scheduling period, which is how long into the future we'll want to schedule this maintenance plan. In this example, we'll go with 10 years. And then we can set the completion requirement, which is saying that until this work order is technically completed, then do not schedule the next work order. You can also specify the start of the cycle right here. It will ask us this if we don't put this in. So we'll leave that blank for now. You also have additional data over on this third tab, which is important just to help categorize all of your maintenance plans. Now, we had done that originally in that first screen for IP41, but we can also do this even further, which helps once you have thousands or hundreds of different work orders in the system. It can be hard to keep track of everything that you have. So that's what we can use the additional data tab for. And now that we have all of our information entered in here, we can save this. And so this will ask us for the start of the cycle. I'll set this to 1 year ago so that when we schedule it, we will see the work order in the system. All right, and now we can see that the maintenance plan was created, maintenance plan 127. Now, once we have that, we can go in and schedule this. For this example, I'm going to just schedule this singular plan that I just created. However, you can also do what's called a batch job to run in the background, and this will schedule hundreds or thousands of maintenance plans, which you will want to do once you have that many. And what that will do is schedule these plans. You can usually set them up as daily, so that when one is technically completed, it will schedule that plan again, and you'll see the next resulting maintenance plan or next resulting work order in the system. But back to this, to schedule this one maintenance plan, we'll go in, we'll select our plan, we'll click Start, select the start of the cycle that we want, and we can see here that we have, since we set it for, I believe it was 10 years, might have been 2 years, you can see that we have it every 6 months, we have a work order that will be set to be called. Now, all we need to do to now create the resulting work order is hit save, and then we'll come back into this scheduling area and we'll see that work order. So we can see that it was scheduled, and now we can go back into this maintenance plan. We can see that this work order was called, which means that we now have a resulting work order. And from here, we can view that. If we click on this display, we can see, since we have 2 different maintenance items, we have 2 resulting work orders for this plan. So we can take a look at one of these. We'll take a look at both of these orders. And here you can see we have a maintenance work order called port check. Remember, that was one of the maintenance items. And it has all of our planning data being pulled in here. And if we look at the second work order that was created, we now have the starboard check, which was the second maintenance item, now in the system. So that's a brief overview of SAP's preventive maintenance. Again, it's really just used for inspections and other repeated maintenance tasks, and is very helpful. So what we did was create a maintenance plan. We then scheduled that maintenance plan and then saw the resulting work order for that plan. For more information on how Blue Marble Consulting can implement a solution like this for you, please call our number listed here or visit our website at sap-bmc.com.